Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm going to share with you today my 5 worst levels on the original Sonic games. Now there's a reason I'm doing this. I do a lot of speedrunning on Sonic Origins of the original games, and when I say the original games, I'm specifically talking about those that were on the Mega Drive or on the Genesis. So we've got Sonic 2, well, should we do them in order? Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic and Knuckles on its own. We've got 3 games there, haven't we, essentially? Now, I've had to go through, it's difficult for me to choose levels that I do not like on these. I have levels that I dislike. I wouldn't categorically say I hate any of the levels because I love the Sonic games. But when I'm talking about the original 2D scrolling Sonic games, those are the ones I'm referring to. I'm not considering Sonic 3D in this because let's face it, if I was to put that in there, we'd just have that whole game would take up the 5 top spots. Again, my opinion, guys, don't shout at me for it. It wasn't my favourite. I'm also not including Sonic CD in there. I didn't get the chance to play Sonic CD until a couple of years ago. I couldn't afford a Mega CD as a child. So these were the games that I have played pretty much my entire life. And there's levels in there. I get asked quite a lot when I'm streaming, what's your favourite level? What's your worst level? What's your favourite level in this one? And I thought I'd just put a very quick top 5 of the worst, in my opinion, my least favourite, not the worst, worst's a harsh word, but my least favourite Sonic levels off the Mega Drive.
In at number 5 is Scrap Brain Zone. I don't like the industrial type levels on Sonic the Hedgehog, so there's a few of them in this top 5 list, but they don't come much more industrial than Scrap Brain. There are spikes, there is fire, there is electricity, there are swinging pendulum spiky balls to get you. This level is really, really tough the first time that you come up against it. Let's not forget, and this is probably why it's in my top 5, this moment. This is one of the worst moments in any game in history, in my opinion. Absolutely traumatic. Why the hell would they throw you back into this level? Coming in at number 4 with quite a weak argument actually, but I feel quite strongly about it. Oil Ocean. Not only is the level quite tricky, and you can end up, if you're not careful, falling into the oil that it is named after, this level has some of the worst badniks in any of the Sonic games. These guys. These little seahorses are called Aquas, and they will always get you. Do you know what? When they're coupled with Octus as well, these little pink octopuses, they are horrendous. They can go in there as well. That's why this is in number 4. At number 3 is Launch Base Zone. I whinge about this one a lot. I feel like this was quite a disappointing last level to the game that was Sonic 3. It almost feels like it was rushed to be put out in time for the launch of the game, in my opinion. It's just a little bit disjointed, it doesn't feel like it flows very well, I'm not overly keen on the colour scheme in it, and don't get me started on Knuckles' level. Knuckles Act 2 is really a continuation of what I was saying. It really does feel like this level was rushed. It doesn't seem to have any flow to it. So for me, that's how this has ended up at number 3. There are some redeeming features about this one though, particularly the run of bosses at the end. This little cutscene where Sonic gets in the Egomatic and has a little bit of a face-off with Knuckles is a really cool little moment in the game. I do really like this part of it, which I think has dragged this up from potentially being my worst level to putting it in 3rd place. Taking 2nd place, here's a level that needs no introduction whatsoever. If you were born in the 80s or 90s, it's likely that this is where your anxiety issues come from. The Labyrinth Zone is definitely one that all Sonic fans love to hate. It is difficult. I think it's really the first experience you have in a Sonic game where you get stuck somewhere. The level design itself is genius. When you're underwater, it feels like you're treading mud. The controls are so different to what you experience when you're on the surface. The most difficult mechanic of this whole game design, around the enemy placement in this level and the puzzles, is the fact that we don't want our little blue friend to drown. This has to be one of the most iconic gaming sound effects of all time, and the most stressful. Taking the top spot. There was only one level that was going to take this top spot. Even beating the Labyrinth Zone, which some of you might find surprising, is the Carnival Night Zone. The soundtrack to the Carnival Night Zone is one of those that you either really love or you hate. I'm firmly on the hate side of this soundtrack. It drives me mad. I feel like the game is constantly taking the mick out of you. There's a huge sensory overload with this level. The sound effects, the placement of enemies, the colours, everything about this level is absolutely chaotic. It really is one of those levels, even as a seasoned gamer, where you have to have your wits about you, have to be concentrating all the time. And then to add insult to injury, there's even water in this level too. In the middle of the chaos, then Knuckles switches the lights out. Speaking of Knuckles, he's probably just annoyed because the Sonic team really did a dirty on him with Act 2 of his level. If you blink, you miss it. It's so easy to get a sub 1 minute speed on this level. The underwater part of Carnival Night is really tricky. You're getting thrown around by springs, you can't stop, and if you do need some oxygen you need to pop the balloons to try and get the air out of them, which is easier said than done sometimes. I'm going to address the elephant in the room now, and the real reason why Carnival Night has made it to the top of my least favourite Sonic levels. It is those spinning barrels of doom. These barrels squash you even when they shouldn't be squashing you. They drive me absolutely mad. This particular spinning barrel of doom is where a lot of people will have got stuck and timed out and died because you couldn't get past this bit. And there you have it. Those are my 5 least favourite Sonic levels from the original series. Let me know what you think. Did I miss something obvious? Did I get the order right? Do you agree with me? I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching.
Hit that like button.